We should do that.
All right, Vanessa, if you can hear me, we're gonna move on. Let me know how it's working out for you. Did you have to restart the you didn't have to restart the
Yeah,
video?
I sent everybody who was in it the link, so I restarted the video and a new stream, and then I'll edit them.
Okay,
3 people are in the new link, so that's.
okay.
She's gonna edit it together. That will never happen, or that sentence is never gonna come out of my mouth. We're clear.
You're not our
I'm
technology.
not editing anything.
Next, we have our reserve plan update. We will ask you to take action on this later in the board meeting. But Joanne will share with you where we are with our reserves.
Don't be able to do it next month? We're not acting on this month, are we? It is next month. Well, I could be wrong. I think that's what we usually do. Is the year, okay, we're ahead of ourselves then. But again, we have gone
When we
through
get to
this.
it, if you think we shouldn't, when we get to it.
I think we have been through it not too long ago, so no worries.
Okay.
So again, this is some information that we just recently went through, and it's about our fund balance and our reserves and how it ended up at the end of this year. If you remember correctly, back in May, the board acted to on some resolutions to increase certain reserves in amounts not to exceed, and we have that for our capital fund, our ERS reserve, and our TRS reserve. Go ahead. And again, I go over this all the time. Sometimes there's new people in the audience. Sometimes, we might not have, it's very simple fund balance. It is your revenues minus your expenditures leaves you your fund balance. And then it's up to us, this Board of Education, along with recommendations that we make to fund those reserves, move money to make sure that our fund balance is where you're comfortable, where we're comfortable, and the Office of the State Comptroller is comfortable. Again, what is it? Some schools, I don't believe it's a requirement that you have to adopt your reserve plan. We do. Every year we do it. We go through it. We update it. The board knows it. We put it on the website. Our auditors know we do this. It provides detailed information about the reserves where they ended in June. Very often we do all that work at the end of the year. We have our audit and then we move on. Well, all those actions that we took to increase reserves will show up here. And I also, as part of that reserve plan, when I came back a few years ago, I updated the reserve plan. Again, I give you the information. When was the reserve established? Give you a little bit of information from the Office of the State Comptroller on what the reserves can do, how you fund them, how you spend them, and then how, if we're going to use anything, or is there any plan to use any of it? Can you all see that? I don't mean to, I know it's very exciting. And everybody's going to want to watch it. So a little brief blurb on what they are. You have the workers' compensation, unemployment, employee benefit liability reserve. For our district, they're relatively small. We don't have a lot of money in any of those reserves. The one that we have right now, the employee benefit liability, you'll see, I made a comment. We could bring that up based on where our compensated absence are. If we needed to put money in that, the board can do that without board approval. It becomes a nice tool to be able to use to manage your fund balance. The employee reserve and the teacher retirement reserve, ERS, TRS, again, one of our larger expenditures. We put money aside in order to help us mitigate those expenditures or to offset some of those costs. Tax share repair, and again, for most of you, this is not new. We talk about that every year. We have to fund that based on what our assessment challenges are at the time. It's a piece that I look at, that our external auditor looks at. Again, you'll see on your board agenda today, we have some properties that recently they settled, so we're going to have to give a refund. That, those amounts wouldn't have exceeded our tax share, and I want to be clear about that too. That won't come from the reserve when we pay that. That actually will just be taken right out of our tax revenue. So we don't charge that to an expense or a reserve. But if we have a large one, we could do that. And I wouldn't do that for the amounts we have. The repair reserve, we're very familiar with that. It allows us to fix something that happens that we had not anticipated. It was going to be a relatively large expense. And again, we have to have a public hearing. Without a public hearing, we could still spend that money, but we'd have to put it back in the next year's budget. and the capital reserve. That's one of the reserves that, is a tight reserve, meaning it requires voter authority, voter approval to fund it and to spend it. So a lot of districts put money in those reserves, which is a great thing because very often the capital reserves cover something that's a large expense, millions of dollars. And that's how they offset or mitigate the local share of those projects. All right, so back in time, back in May, we just talked about this. The board approved a transfer to the employee retirement reserve, not to exceed 50,000. We did the teacher retirement reserve increase, not to exceed 75,000. And then the capital reserve not to exceed 750,000. We put those amounts in because if you remember correctly, last year, we had to put more money in and we acted after the June 30th deadline or date. And we had to do 2 corrective action plans because we further funded those reserves after June 30th. So that was something the board acted on. And so here we are at a nutshell glance. So I always like to give you 5 years worth of history on where we've been with our fund balance. The column's going to start right at the top. It's your beginning balance, which is where you ended the previous year. And that is its lump, that's all of our fund balance. Assigned, reserved, unassigned, it's all. We started with 2,337. Then we had revenues of 9.2. We had expenditures 8.8, leaves you with your fund balance. And then this is how we divvied it all up. And again, that goes right on through. So at the end of last year, or beginning of this year, last year, 2.7 million. We took in 10.9 million, 10.4, and in the 23-24 school year, we ended with 3.22. And again, starting this year with 3.2, we had $12 million in revenues. A lot of that jump is in a result of this special education tuitions that we got. Interest have also been higher over the last couple of years. And then our expenditures were 11.6 million. That left us an ending fund balance of $3.7 million at the end of last year. And that's how we divvied it up. Again, this one figure, the 2.68435, that's encumbrances that were left last year that we bring over into the new year. Some of those will come to fruition, some of them may not for the whole amount. I don't necessarily like looking at our fund balance figure with that number because to me, it's money that's already gone. But again, you'll see that the workers' compensation and the reserve for unemployment are very low at just over $30,000. Then you go into the reserve for ERS. Now that doesn't have a calculation that limits how much money we can spend. And in your reserve plan, it kind of gives you what the wherewithal about how much you can put in that. But I think it's 4 times total payroll. We're not there. We have a lot more money we could put in that reserve if you wanted to. I don't feel the need to just dump money in a reserve. We're okay if it goes a little over 4% in that ballpark. So the TRS reserve has a maximum calculation. You cannot exceed in any one year 2% of the previous year's salaries for teachers. And at no point could it exceed 10% of what you have on paying for your instructional staff. So we were limited to that, even though we said we could go up as high as 75. With the calculation that we have based on where our teachers are, we could only put $28,000 in that reserve. I touched that down and it goes away. Okay. Reserve for tax tertiary, any increase there, that 5,037, just interest. Those are things we're also getting. We're getting interest on a lot of these reserves. And then you'll see the capital reserve, $476,000. So that is inclusive of what we transferred as well as any of the interest in our for the previous year. And it kind of gives you a nice nutshell. If you come down here, you'll see that our unassigned fund balance right now is 5.12%. Without those encumbrances, that figure there is more along the lines of 7. But you can see based on where Jason just left us, we are in a nice, healthy position right now as far as our cash, our savings accounts, and how it's distributed. And this is what I'd like for you guys to see when that figure's not in there. So you can just go down to the bottom. I don't want anybody to think that we're cutting it too tight. We still have quite a bit of money and we're in a good place financially with our fund balance. Why do we increase our reserves? Current unassigned fund balance is greater than the allowable 4%. The current percentage is 5.12. Again, still lower than what the auditors wanted us, or it's trending where the auditors wanted us to go. But it's at 5.12%. Is that my last slide? And then your fund balance plan, reserve plan that you have as part of your packet today kind of goes through each individual reserve, tells you when it was created, what the activity was for the 24-25 school year, and then it describes the reserves. So if you guys would want to table it and act on it the next time if you have any questions, if not, we have gone through this a few times, so I'm comfortable. So any questions from anybody? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Anything else?
Yep, that's all I have for you tonight.
All right, item 3, business matters, non-action items. Non-action items warrants. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are there any questions on those warrants for the month of October? From anybody?
Nope.
All right, item B, non-action items appropriation status report for November. Any questions on that?
Good.
Okay, item C, revenue status report. Any questions on the revenue status for November?
Nope.
All right, item D, refund of real property taxes. Any questions there? Again, this is not, it's not an action item. It's not something we have a choice over. It's decided by a judge or an assessor. Are there any questions on those? Looks like 4 assessment changes. Vanessa said the sound is better. All right, item 4, business matters, action items. A, treasurer's report. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District approve the Treasurer's Report for November 2025.
Second.
Any questions on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, action item donations. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District accept the following donations as listed. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much to all those groups. We've been getting a lot of donations from the food pantry, a lot from the village, a lot from various organizations and private citizens, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you to everybody. Item C, action items, budget transfers over $10,000. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the authorization of the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District approved and closed budget transfers over $10,000.
Second.
Any questions about that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, reserve plan for the school year ending June 30th, 2025. Should we read the resolution in? We can ask questions if we want to. Is anybody uncomfortable moving forward with the resolution tonight? Okay, go ahead and read the resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approve the reserve plan as presented for the school year ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Any questions that anyone didn't get a chance to ask earlier? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Joanne, and everyone in the business office. Well thought out and presented, and we're ahead of the game this year. Item E, business office action items, corrective action plan for the school year ending June 30th, 2025, external audit, excuse me. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District accepts the attached corrective action plans for the external audit of the school year ending in June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Were there any questions on this? This is what Joanne was talking about, where the state says that our unassigned fund balance is not to exceed 4%. It does. It has for quite a long time, but every year we've been bringing it down little by little, while making sure we're, still managing our budget and keeping a little bit in reserve. So, were there any questions on that action plan?
It was discussed in an audit committee meeting also and approved there.
The audit committee meeting was, or the audit committee was comfortable with the
Yep.
action plan and,
Yep.
okay. Any other questions on it?
Nope.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, action items, tax collectors report. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District accept the tax collection report as submitted, the affidavit to be signed by each board member.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I believe we do have to sign that one at the end of the meeting today.
Mhm.
So don't rush out without Trish getting your signature. Item 5, policies. Final reading of policies. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, approve the final reading of following policies as listed.
Second.
Any questions on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, personnel matters. Resignation. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District accept the following resignation for Tina Yanni as a payroll clerk secretary, effective close of business December 17th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Tina Yana, we want to thank you for your service to the district and wish her well on her new opportunities. Do you want to speak about Tina?
Yeah, so Tina's been with the district for quite a few years. She originally was in our cafeteria and has recently moved up to our business office where she was serving part-time as a payroll specialist and then part-time as a secretary. Given the size of our district, we don't have a need for a full-time payroll clerk. However, given the opportunity that she had here, she has been able to secure a full-time payroll position, which, will be a financial advantage for her. And she's certainly been able to take the experience here and move forward. We wish her the best. And, I'm always grateful for the time that people have. And we also would never want to hold somebody back from an opportunity that can better them financially and professionally. So we wish her the best. And we will work to secure the staff that we need for the payroll department. And in the meantime, we do have some consultants available and we'll be working with Joanne to make sure there's no interruptions or issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. Item B, personnel agenda. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District approves the personnel agenda as attached.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, unpaid leave of absence. Updated unpaid leave of absence. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District approve the updated dates for Destin Parsons' unpaid leave request effective from the date all eligible paid time off was exhausted through December 5, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, tenure recommendation. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District grant tenure to Chelsea Passaro in the elementary education tenure area effective January 3rd, 2026.
Second.
Do you want to speak about Chelsea before we approve it?
So we have Chelsea here with us this evening. Chelsea joined us a little over 4 years ago when Mrs. Maldonado was on a medical leave of absence. Mrs. Passaro took the risk to make a jump to a public school mid-year. She came to us from Wine and Skill, where she was a preschool teacher. She stayed with us for the remainder of the year. When we had an opportunity the following year, we were more than happy to invite her back. She had really done a nice job coming in and transitioning and supporting a classroom and families through a very difficult time. Chelsea has been now with us for a couple of years in a tenure track position. She's taught first grade. She is back in kindergarten this year. Our families love her. Our kids adore her. She is an excellent colleague. Her knowledge and expertise in the area of early childhood education is really a great addition to our team. So it is without any sort of hesitation and actually with great honor that we recommend her tonight for tenure. We look forward to having her with our district for many years to come.
We have a resolution on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Chelsea Prasar. Congratulations. Okay, now we're on item E, substitute teachers fully cleared. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District approve the substitute teacher for the 25-26 school year as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, Board of Education appointment, A, deputy clerk appointment. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District hereby appoints Elizabeth D'Angelo as deputy clerk for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
And this is just, Ms. D'Angelo would be able to serve as clerk if Trish was not able to make a meeting. Ms. D'Angelo could sub in for that, which is the reason for that appointment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. D'Angelo, for being willing to do that. Item 8, superintendent program recommendations, CSE, CPSE recommendations. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Manans Union Free School District hereby approves the CSE, CPSE recommendations as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, student matters, enrollment update. Looks like we're at 306, the full pre-K. Item B, superintendent's comments.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, absolutely. So, Mr. Hoffman, Mrs. Juskola, and myself had the opportunity to go to NISBA this past fall. And Jason, you are up to provide some information to the remainder of the board and us regarding the sessions that you went to. So thank you for going. I know it's a big ask to be away from family and travel, and we certainly appreciate your willingness to be there and learn and bring information back to us.
So you put a little something together. Yes, write else down. I do have some other copies if anybody wants. I think I have a few more. I just didn't get a chance to staple them all together. First and foremost, I really appreciate the opportunity that the school gave. As somebody who is a first year on the school board, it was really great to get that experience, get that exposure, listen to different school districts and listen to different opinions and listen to things that I quite frankly haven't heard yet. So just a couple of things around here are sessions I attended. If anybody wants any more information on that, just let me know. I do still have the link to the expo. So there were some PowerPoints on there. If anything interested you, feel free to reach out and I can provide it. I did talk about 2 of them on here. So the anatomy of district goal setting. The first one that's on this presentation is reimagining community engagement. There were a couple other ones on here, as you can see, might be a little bit more personal in terms of being a new board member. For example, what's your questions? I really wanted to try to get an understanding of what type of questions we're going to be asking at board meetings and stuff like that. And then also the courageous leadership, now being a board member and having that leadership role, having those potential tough conversations. What I found was beneficial to the board, just as we kind of transition right now into our long-term planning again. Something we've talked about a little bit is this reimagining community engagement. The person that did it, I just want to make sure I've got it. Yeah, Janet Warden, Aaron Hayes, Kelly Burrell. I hope I said that right, but she's not here to correct me. Red Hook Central School District was a really great session. What they talked about a lot is taking things that they have done within their community and how they did outreach to get people to come for certain votes. One that they had as a school district was whether it was going to be grass or turf field that they were going to be putting in. So what they did is they invited the entire community and brought them to the field, talked about it, had an open discussion, and that kind of sparked the increase, what they said, in what their typical voting would be for something like that. So some of the challenges that they said, right, low board meeting attendance, low vote turnout, reach to all community members. Some ideas that they talked about, which I kind of found interesting and liked, was a Board of Education meet and greet, at some point getting us together, having the community come in and, talk to us and things like that. Some community partnership, budget expos. The community partnership was something I thought about while I was doing that, just because how diverse Manans is being able to touch every area of the community and really get them to come together for the common goal of the school district. The second one that I went to was the anatomy of district goal setting, which was by Jamie McPherson. Really great presentation, was very energetic for, I believe it was the first one in the morning for them. But a lot of it, what it talked about is first bullet point, where we want to go as a district, what were changes, improvements, and then reflection. Talked about this golden circle of why, kind of the purpose, what's our cause, what do we believe on the process, how we'll get to that goal, and then the result, what was reached when we decided on those goals. On the mission, right, which would be the purpose, vision, ideal future, goals, fulfill purpose, work toward the future. And then just kind of talked about 3 types of goals, which was something obviously brand new to me, being somebody as the first year of the school board, is the difference between the board goals, district goals, superintendent goals, and where they all fall in the overall goal of school. And kind of talked about thinking about when we do goal setting, where are we now? And in the future, where would we like to be? And then, which I think we do a really good job of, we've already had a conversation about this, but hitting that 3 to 5 goals is the sweet spot. I talked about a lot of districts that have more than those 5 goals start to lose kind of track of the goals because there's a lot of them to do. So that 3 to 5 would be that sweet spot. So again, I really do appreciate the opportunity that I had. It was a very fun time. I did get to spend, it worked out because my son's birthday was that Friday. So we ended up staying in New York City and had a really nice time. So again, on behalf of obviously me, I really do appreciate the school giving me that opportunity.
Thanks, Jason. We appreciate you going. It's a lot of information, especially for new board members, but all of this is, but it's, like you said, it kind of gives you a chance to see what is being a board member involved and what are other districts around the state doing, right? So it's a great learning opportunity. So thank you for going and for the presentation.
Absolutely.
So
Next up, I have Festival of Trees on here. So again, Manans School has participated in the Festival of Trees. The administration supports a tree that is decorated by ornaments that are created by our students, and then the middle school team also supports one of the trees that are down there, and it helps support the ladies auxiliary. Our chorus sang at tree lighting along with our second graders. It was great to see our second graders down there. I think having our second graders down there brought out more families to the tree lighting, and it was a really nice community event, and they do a great job, and we're happy to participate again. If you stop down, take a look. All of the kids had the opportunity to create an ornament. So they're all hung on there, and they're all ready to go with some different color lights and a little bit of blue and yellow phased in as well. Next is the district-wide safety plan. Every summer, we do a public comment period for our district-wide safety plan, and then we adopt that in our building-wide safety plan. There has been an update that has been required related to AEDs. So we have always had an AED plan. It is now required to be part of our safety plan that is district-wide. So on the website, we have the amendment to be up for public comment for 30 days. That will go up. And then once it goes up for 30 days, I've asked Mike to put that up. It'll be up. Then the board will adopt the amendment at the next board meeting. So I would ask you to take a look. Needham, our management group, helps us put that together so that it meets regulatory requirements. And then there is a piece that Mrs. Wiley adds to our building emergency plan, which is confidential. But this is the piece that will go out in front of the public. So that is now out for public comment, and public comments come to me. My email will be listed in case if there are any comments made. And then last but not least, we gave you a copy of the draft 26-27 budget calendar. So I would ask you to please take a look at that. We just want to ensure before we put that out publicly after our next meeting, that you take a look and make sure that any of the budget dates that we have set forth do not conflict with anything that you personally have going on, because some of them are outside of our regular Board of Ed meetings. So please just take a look. If there's anything that conflicts or any issues that you see, please have a conversation with Trish and I. We can certainly adjust. We wanted to get that into your hands so that we can make any changes that we need before we go into budgeted season, which is hard to believe, but we'll begin officially next month after our long range plan this past month. And that is all that I had for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Business managers' comments, item C.
Three small things to make you aware of. We are doing our borrowing for our permanent borrowing on the van that we, for the roof project that we just finally finished. And when they did that, they got ready to, what they call, bid the bonds. So all the banks bid, and we are fighting for the interest rate. Well, when they did that, they were estimating that the interest rates would come in right around 4%. Well, it was very nice that the winning bid was 2.83%, which was significantly lower than what that they had thought, which allows us, again, we're going to be borrowing a little less money for a little less time. So all in all, it's a very positive thing for the school district. Ms. Jaskula had to come in and sign her life away. It's one of the gifts of being the board president is to sign those documents. So we have that done. That'll get mailed. So that's all underway. We're going to be submitting the final cost report for that project because it's very important. So you all know that when that gets filed, if it gets filed now before December 31st, we'll realize a full year of building aid. Building aid is a big deal to the district. It identifies and links directly to the project that we just did. It would be no harm. We wouldn't lose money, but it would be split over 2 years if we did it by the end of June. So this is great. We planned it that way, so I was kind of happy it all went that way. The HVAC update, we just, again, earlier this fall, we had a public hearing. We got a new air conditioner that was not going to make it until we did the next project. That now is all done, although I think people would just assume it's not warm enough in here. However, bring a sweater. I mean, it can be cold, but we're working on it. But that got done. A couple of bumps. Didn't, they said it'd be done in 2 days. They started on Tuesday, I believe. They did finish on the Friday. I got a little mad, but it went well. Everything's working. It's in good working order. And then I want to make you aware, because you're, as members of the community, the Medicare Advantage rate, that's the health insurance package that our retirees get. It's for when you turn 65 and you're retired, not working. They were originally, it's one of those affordable plans, which is $380 a month. Medicare Advantage plans generally are through CDPHP. Our retirees have that option. They also have the option to, prior to 2023, to be a night shift if they chose. A little more expensive, but some of our retirees want that. Well, the pricing structure came in. There were three options to choose from. Two of the options would have made the monthly increase in double digits. Doesn't necessarily all fall on the backs of the retiree. However, they are going to pay some up. One of the options was to give them a smaller increase. So from $380 a month, it went to $390.90, which is about 2% from the increase. But we aligned it with the active employees. So now instead of having a zero copay for inpatient hospital stays, it would be a $500 copay for inpatient hospital stays. That's what our actives have right now. So bringing that copay up allowed us to keep the premium down. There was a copay increase for surgical procedures out of, same-day surgical procedures went from 25 to 120, 75 to 125. We kept prescriptions the same. And I got a call from a couple of retirees that, and I tried really hard to write that letter so they knew that we were trying to keep their premiums lower, but all they did was see $390. So everybody assumed that that's what they were going to pay, who were paying $57 before, because netted out to what their percentage to pay of the insurance was. But when everybody realized that that was not gonna be their new monthly payment, everything really went well. I'm gonna send the letter next time I send the letter to one of the retirees to read it first to make sure that Jen read it, we all read it for readability. But all in all, I don't think if somebody were to say anything, I want you all to know it. Yes, the increase, it did go up a little bit. To give you an example, somebody that was paying $57.02 a month, who was on the Medicare Advantage plan, will now go to 58 and change. So we tried very hard to keep that increase manageable for people that are on fixed income. So I think all in all, I spoke to the retirees. I think I've spoken to 4 of them. We don't have hundreds of them. They were happy once we had a conversation, but I thought it would be nice for you guys to know how we got there in case you hear something about it. Other than that, with Tina's resignation, I will say Tina's been a great asset. I'm glad, actually not really glad that I taught her anything. So she would have left, but it's okay. I'm happy for her. And we're just gonna be busy for a little while, but everything's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Item D, principal comments.
Hello. So before I get started, I want to just, because she's here, give a shout out to Deb because she helps me with these. And when I say help, I mean, does a lot of it. All of it. Besides talking about the events and her saying, how did it go? She's responsible for a lot of this, so I want to thank her. So this feels forever ago because we just had another assembly, and I'm not sure our recent assembly isn't in here. I want to give a shout out to Ms. Irving, who won our most recent Teacher of the Month award. So she's here, so I just wanted to celebrate her. But we did our whole school assembly last month. We reflected on our energy bus theme, and we talked about our next one. And in that one, we talked about really driving with a purpose and making sure that we know, what we can drive all we want, but if we don't know where we're going, then that doesn't really help us that much. So we had a great time. Our kindergartners did their A through Z fashion show. So they got themselves dressed in all types of letters. Ms. Pissarro helped put that together. And they were cute as can be and smart as a whip. They learned their letters pretty quick. And then the first graders did blends, correct? They got all their blends. So they did a fashion show of blends. So it was great. The place went wild when they came in, and it was a good time. PTA Fall Fest ended up to be a pretty nice day for it, and the kids always enjoy that event. We had they can eat ice cream no matter how cold. It does not matter. They enjoyed it, and we didn't have cotton candy because it was too windy. So that was
Popcorn, hot cocoa.
We tried cotton candy, but it was flying everywhere from the wind. It was one of those really windy days. And every time I think Logan tried, it was like in his hair and everywhere. So we gave up on that, but everything else went really great. Well attended, and students enjoyed it. And staff, thank you for helping out. There's a lot of staff there helping out. Middle school fun night, first middle school fun night of the year. I unfortunately missed it. It is one of my favorite events. I was sick. But I think the students enjoyed it. I know Ms. Canavo was there. They had a game theme, right? A game board costume theme. So students were dressed up in a variety of costumes and had fun. I know that we have another one coming up soon. Well, a couple months. And they're already asking about themes and songs. And I get random emails with song requests. So I'm like, why is like just the name of a song coming in my email, and then I put it together, like, oh, they want us to do middle school fun day 3 months from now. Got it. So they again, thank you for all the staff, so many staff members. Mr. Schweiss, were you usually there?
I was there trying to pull the basket.
Yeah. Get ready for our game, which I have already begun to kind of poke students a little bit about our faculty 8th grade basketball game coming up. So we're already instigating a little bit. We're warming up, right, Mr. Schweitzer? Pretty much trying to serve you. All right. The stack challenge. So we do this yearly in PE class. Mr. Allen, Ms. Bettinger run a stack up challenge. It's like a national day of stack up. So we we have our challenge, they have, it's time, they have different formations they can do, they have videos they can watch, and they enjoy the competition. So, fun day. The bio bus came. I want to thank Regeneron for sending the bio bus. This year we did some different classes each year. What we're finding is that bio bus is really great, but they have a set of programs that they kind of recycle, which is great. But some of our middle schoolers have seen all of them. So we've been giving some of the younger kids chances, and it really does fit in nicely with some of our core. So, for example, third grade went this year. They do a habitat unit in our core, and that fit really nicely with Homey Habitats, which is one of the programs they did on the bio bus. So we differentiated some grade levels, and it went really well. We'll continue to kind of think about student needs and who's seen what, and try to track that a little bit. But the students enjoyed it, and it's really great that Regeneron does this for us. We are continuing our parents' lunch date. This one grew exponentially. I did push it out a little bit more this month, and a lot of parents showed up. We are having to, parents ask you, we can't fit all parents in all the lunches all the time. So we just don't have the space. One of our lunches has 3 grade levels in it, and we just could not possibly put all the parents of all those kids in there. So we're rotating through and keeping track. I'm not going to forget any grade levels. Some middle schoolers asked, when is our turn? Which I was very surprised. I was very surprised.
The kids asked, not the parents?
What's that?
The kids, not the parents?
The kids said, when is our turn? So I was like, wow, okay. They weren't really in the front of my brain for that, but I will do a middle school one coming up. So it is really great to see the parents coming in, sitting with their kids, having lunch, having conversations. Parents are talking to other parents. Kids are introducing their teachers and the staff, and it's just a really great community time. What a nice benefit of a small school. So we did an activity where I sent out a Google form to parents on Parent Square and said, if you want to thank somebody in this building, fill this out. And what happened was we turned that Google form into an award, and then these awards turned up on the teachers' doors all throughout the last week or so before Thanksgiving. And I just want to take a moment to thank all the parents that filled these out. They took time, they thought about staff members. It was teachers, staff, Chef Mike got a bunch of shout outs, custodial. So it was really nice. People were thinking outside the box and just taking a minute to thank their teachers. And a lot of it was very personal. And I think the teachers enjoyed hearing from parents and kids. Sometimes the students wrote them. So this is just a small sample of them. There are a ton. There's still a lot of them around the building. So thank you to the parents for taking time to do that. And thank you to the teachers for all you guys do. Tree lighting, as Jen was talking about, that's our choir, our chorus singing. Did a nice job at the tree lighting. The Miss Foley and Miss McLaughlin's class, our K2 self-contained classes, went to, I believe Scotia, Lily's Cafe in Scotia, to practice some real world skills, some life skills. They went and ordered food. They paid for their food on their own. They helped, they learned how to interact with the waitress, and they used devices if they needed to, and they had a good time. I saw pictures. They seemed to enjoy it. Lots of chicken nuggets, tenders, and fries ordered, and with that, pancakes. Yep. So the teachers thinking of this and doing this and executing this, first of all, it's a big undertaking to take all these students out to a restaurant and support them in that way, but how important and how darn cute. We had a talent show. Thank you to Miss O'Connell who put that together. We had several different acts. We had some comedy, we had some dancing, we had some singing, and the students were well prepared and it was well put together. And this is a different time for us. We did it in the spring, in June in the past. And as we know, last year it was about 9,000 degrees in the gym. So we had to cancel it. So Miss O'Connell got, thoughtful and creative and thought, right before Thanksgiving break would be a great time for us to do this. So it worked out well. Thanks for putting that together, and thanks for the students who took the time to do this. And names has changed. Our grade program is coming up. We had our last session of the anti-bullying grade program. Sweethearts and Heroes will come back for one more visit to do circles with our kids. But our middle school students who led the way doing that work with the younger students did a really nice job. Miss Irvin was their champion teacher, and they did great work. They learned a lot about how to talk with kids and how to interact with young kids, and they'd come out of the classrooms and say, oh my gosh, they were so loud, why do they have so much energy? And it's like, well, you were probably that too when you were in second or third grade. But we are going to continue to work. So we are going to meet with Sweethearts and Heroes in a Zoom meet, and Miss Irvin and Miss Perfetti and I are going to plan of how we're going to move this work forward. Sweethearts and Heroes never meant it to be a program that dies when they leave. We want that anti-bullying and mentorship program to continue. So we're going to continue to think about how we get the kids back in classrooms and continue to do those drills. And then pass it along. We want the years to come forward. And I'm right now working on grant money so we can bring this program back next year and add some more kids back into it. So. And believe it or not, we are at the in December. We are almost at break. So we got our club starting soon. I think those went out, Miss D'Angelo. Starting today. Okay. Spelling Bee is coming up. Early dismissal, parent-teacher conferences on the 12th. Trimester report cards. PTA staff appreciation day. I believe that's the luncheon. Is that?
Yep. Not lunch. It's the lunch is at the end of the year. This one's like coffee, breakfast,
Gotcha.
donuts, bagels.
Oh, what we used to do.
Yes. And 4 meals.
Gotcha. Progress reports, and then we go on to break. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
All right, item 10, miscellaneous. This is a chance for people to talk about community events or to mention anything that they want to talk about at a future meeting or bring up anything in general. Does anybody have anything?
Yeah, I wanted to just bring it to everybody's notice. There is a Titanic immersive thing going on in Rotterdam. So if the school wants to, I mean, it's a show, but it's like a virtual show. You can actually like dive deep into the sea and you can see the actual thing, and they show you a lot of stuff about the Titanic. They have a replica.
Oh, wow.
So something which I read that Rotterdam, I think it's in the old mall or something.
Okay.
That via
Something which
whatever.
Via Rotterdam.
Yeah. Okay.
the school can think of to educate the students.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, item 11, public comment. During public comment sessions, members of the community may address the board on agenda and non-agenda items. Speakers must identify themselves and the topic on which they would like to make remarks. Does say any Board of Education member may choose to enter executive session at this time if necessary. We will have an executive session. Does anybody have any public comment? Even open online? No comments. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn, and then we are going to enter executive session. So could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Could I get a motion to enter executive session?
I'll make a motion to enter executive session to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're in executive session. We will re-enter public session, but we do not expect to take action. So while you are welcome to wait, if you like, feel free to go home and get out of the cold. Thank you, everybody.